For our viewers, where do you get your books? What edition books do you get there?
Well, this is a really nice one. I'm glad you brought it up actually, because this one,
Hmm.
this which is it's published by Penguin, but this was a very special edition which came out. I suppose it was probably about 2015 because it was the time when Guillermo del Toro made his kind of gothic horror classic, well, or gothic horror tribute, Crimson Peak. Yeah,
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah.
2013, so 10 years ago, although it's still in print. So he teamed up with Penguin and did and sort of curated half a dozen, classic gothic horror
Hmm.
editions that came out, all very affordably. They're nice hardback ones, and they've got those, black lined edges, and each of them comes with the same introduction by Guillermo del Toro, all about his love of all of this stuff.
Right.
And there is so this one is The Raven and Other Stories, which has most of Poe's short stories and poems in there.
Hmm.
It's a good little edition, and you've got like
Okay.
all of the best stuff in there. He also did The Haunting of Hill House. That's the most recent one. There's Frankenstein. There is an H.P. Lovecraft collection, and then there are two other ones whose names escape me. There's one that's just like a collected work of American horror stories, but they were great. I just picked them up on Amazon very affordably, and I've loved them. Yeah. I picked them up during COVID, and
Oh,
I
fantastic.
read them all, and they're great.
I'm really committed to, I'm realizing I've fallen too much lately into the death scrolling through things, and I've been reading less, and it's really irritated me. And so I've really got a concentrated effort now to have my Kindle available and just be reading books more often. I was just recently looking at a couple of YouTube videos where a couple guys give their top 10 or top 15 favorite sci-fi novels. And there
Oh,
was
nice.
the stuff that was just put on my radar that I was unfamiliar with. And so I've been looking it up and thinking, oh, I definitely want to read some of that. Edgar Allan Poe, now you've got me thinking, man, I need to read the Arthur Pym novel.
Yeah.
And, I haven't read H.P. Lovecraft in a long time. I'm thinking I should settle in with some H.P. Lovecraft, some Cthulhu.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was COVID. I think it was one of the positives that came out of COVID, actually, was just not going out so much, spending more time at home. There were a couple of good friends of mine, Pierce, who you've met, I think,
Yeah,
a couple of
yeah.
couple of good friends of mine who live in other parts of the world, who I was used to seeing fairly regularly at film festivals and what have you around the world. We decided right at the start of COVID to do a book club,
Oh,
and
okay. Nice.
just to stay in touch, basically.
Right.
So once a month, one of us would pick a book, or we'd pick three, and the other two choose which one we do, and then all three of us read a book over the month, and then get together on a Zoom call and discuss it, and then do another, and we're still doing it.
Oh, nice. Well,
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
that's been more than three years, I guess, that we've been doing that,
Well,
and that's great. And I think that just kind of kick-started a general reappreciation of reading, and I'm now reading probably more than I ever have.
oh, that's great. You've inspired me. Because
Excellent.
I've always been a very avid reader, and I'm realizing my reading has been reading more articles like from Facebook and Twitter and these types of things. And not that reading articles is bad, but I'm realizing there's something about settling in with a good novel or a good book and committing yourself over a certain amount of time, because
Mm.
we're getting into that stage, and I'm not immune to it at 57, where you start to get attention deficit disorder because you're just not used to everything is hitting you in these little clips and little
Yeah.
articles and little, you get tidbits of information. And so I believe it's becoming a lost art to just plow through a large novel.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we don't have to put this online, this bit, but how about, would you consider that we did something similar like that?
Yeah, yeah, I would
You
love
know,
something like that. Some
we could, uh,
accountability in a way. Yeah.
yeah, and we could add it to the channel just as our, have like a sort of a one playlist would just be like our book club or whatever, and
Yeah, no,
we
I think that'd
do
be
a book a
great. I'd
month.
love to do that. No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'd like
Yeah.
it, because I mean, I'm certainly reading enough that I can fit more stuff in, and we
Yeah.
have great conversations,
Should
and
we
I know
start
you
with
read a
Arthur
lot.
Pym?
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. I'll
Okay,
download it today. I should get a hard copy of it, but it's easier for me to
fabulous.
grab a copy if I just get a Kindle version really fast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an idiot. I like
Well, I
books.
do too, and you're kind of, and we discussed this last time about how I had to get rid of all of my books, but as we're pondering getting a place in Portugal with more space, I'm already thinking
Mm.
about reestablishing my library and getting back into, as much as I love my Kindle and the accessibility that it gives me, there's nothing like having a physical book and holding a book in your hand.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the worst um, things I got into, it was actually just before COVID, is the Folio Society,
Yeah, you
which
were
is
mentioning, yeah,
which has been
it's
going for ages, and my because my dad used to collect them, way
mhm,
back, and just but the year before, it must have been 2019. I noticed that they were starting to bring out all the James Bond books, or the Ian Fleming James Bond books,
mhm,
just like one every 6 months, or whatever. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'd really like just to have all of. There's only like 14. I'd really like
yeah,
just to have those, and I'm always thinking, oh, I don't know what I want for my birthday or for Christmas. So I just said to my mum and dad, I was like, this is what you can just get me for my birthday or Christmas, for the next
yeah,
couple of years. Just get me the new whatever
yeah,
it is. And then my mum went ahead and just gave me four of them for my birthday that year. I was just like, oh,
yeah,
great, okay. And there's only one left, and Folio are holding it back.
yeah, yeah.
And and they've just announced what their big Christmas collection is going to be, and it's not in there, and it's like, come on. But obviously, that was just the entry point, and I've since
That's fantastic.
bought like a
That's fan,
hundred.
yeah, yeah, that's fantastic. That's really good.
And
That's
they're
really good.
lovely. I mean, the additions. I mean, check this one out. Not to
Well, they
give you,
look nice on the shelf too.
they are. Where's the one I was going to show you? Because you is the Call of Cthulhu and Other Weird
Ah,
Tales by H.P. Love. Look at this beauty.
look at that. That is, and
This
who
is
wouldn't want that in your, in your library and on a rainy afternoon to sit in your reading chair with a
and
glass of scotch?
it's got these great kind of like illustrations. Look at
Oh,
this.
that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, of course, they're not cheap, but I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And
Well, that goes
you know,
without saying, but
yeah.
we'll keep that between us.
I remember when I read this one, I had recently read an interview with a film director who was big into all of this kind of stuff, and he said, "Oh, the great thing about Lovecraft is you got to read it out loud to really
Oh,
get the
really?
really get the news." So I was like, really? Okay. So I read it when I was like on my own at home, and I read it out loud, and it was great because you do get really into like the language and because it's so descriptive
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
sort of ghoulish and atmospheric that it was quite a fun exercise. Actually, I didn't read it all like that, obviously, because that would
Yeah.
have just been interminable for everybody. But I did do a few of them like that, and it
Well,
was it
see,
was pretty
I'm an
good.
old gamer, Dungeons and Dragons, all the role playing games. I mean,
Oh,
since I was
sure,
in
yeah.
high school, and Call of Cthulhu. I didn't play it a lot, but that was my introduction to H.P. Lovecraft. Was
Okay.
playing the game Call of Cthulhu back in the like late '80s.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I his stuff's just so great. It's so
yeah.
weird and just
I'd like to be able to say that I've read. I would struggle to think about what I've actually read, despite my familiarity with the genre and his work in general.
right.
I think after maybe Arthur Pym, we might need to do some Lovecraft because
That would be a perfect
this will be a
continuation.
great excuse for me to. I went through this phase about 15 years ago where I was committed to reading the classics. And I went on this just. I read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I read the Brothers Karamazov,
Oh
and
wow.
I wanted to read these classics, and then I kind of fell out of it. And so this is kind of giving me a
Well, I
impetus.
think I think it'll give each other a bit of commitment. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, yeah. No, it
Yeah. I
sounds good.
Awesome, awesome. Let's
Good,
do it
good,
for sure.
good. I'll download Arthur Pym today
So I guess for October, what
for
better?
October.
What
Yes, this
better?
is this is grand. Hey, this has been a great chat. I enjoyed it
You
a
ought
lot.
to be in
Definitely, definitely.
pictures. You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. Oh, what a hit you would be. Your voice